On the coldest night of winter, billionaire Marcus Blackwell found a shivering pregnant girl on the street. He had everything money could buy, but his life felt empty. She had nothing but hope. One decision would change both their lives forever. Sometimes the greatest fortune comes from the most unexpected places. Before watching full story, comment below from where you watching. Also like and subscribe for more stories. The snow fell like tiny white bullets on the empty streets of New York City. It was the coldest night of winter, and most people were safe inside their warm homes. But not everyone was so lucky. Marcus Blackwell stepped out of his black limousine, his expensive coat protecting him from the bitter wind. He was one of the richest men in the city, owning dozens of companies and living in a mansion that most people could only dream of. Tonight, he was returning from another boring business dinner where people tried to impress him with fake smiles. As he walked toward the entrance of his office building to pick up some important papers, something caught his eye. In the shadows near the building's side wall, he saw a small figure huddled against the cold brick. At first, Marcus thought it was just another homeless person. The city was full of them, and he usually walked past without a second glance. But something made him stop tonight. Maybe it was the way the person was shaking, or maybe it was the soft crying sound that reached his ears despite the howling wind. He walked closer and saw it was a young girl, probably no more than 19 years old. She was wearing torn clothes that did nothing to protect her from the freezing cold. Her long brown hair was dirty and tangled, and her face was red from the cold. But what shocked Marcus most was that she was clearly pregnant. "Hey," Marcus said, his voice softer than usual. "Are you okay?" The girl looked up at him with frightened eyes. She had been living on the streets long enough to know that most people who stopped to talk to her wanted something in return. But this man looked different. He was wearing clothes that probably cost more than she had ever seen in her entire life. "I'm fine," she whispered, though her chattering teeth said otherwise. "No, you're not," Marcus said, taking off his warm coat. "Here, take this." The girl stared at him in disbelief. "I can't take that. It looks expensive." "It is expensive," Marcus said with a small smile. "But money can't buy me a new life if I freeze to death, and it certainly can't buy you one either." He gently placed the coat around her shoulders. It was so big on her small frame that it looked like a blanket. "What's your name?" Marcus asked, sitting down beside her on the cold ground, not caring that his expensive suit would get dirty. "Emma," she said quietly. "Emma Rodriguez." "How long have you been out here, Emma?" Emma hesitated before answering. 3 months, maybe 4. I lost count. Marcus felt something strange in his chest, a feeling he hadn't experienced in years. When was the last time he had actually cared about another person's problems? "What happened to you?" he asked gently. Emma's eyes filled with tears. "I was living with my boyfriend. When I told him I was pregnant, he threw me out. Said the baby wasn't his problem. My family, they disowned me when I was 16 for dating him. I have nowhere to go." "What about the baby's father?" "He disappeared the same night he kicked me out. I haven't seen him since." Marcus was quiet for a moment, thinking. He had spent his entire adult life focused on making money and building his empire. He had never been married, had no children, and barely spoke to his own family. His life was empty despite all his wealth. "When is the baby due?" he asked. "In about 2 months, Emma said, placing her hand on her belly. "I'm scared. I don't know what I'm going to do. I can barely take care of myself, and soon there will be 2 of us." Something clicked in Marcus's mind. He stood up suddenly, making Emma jump. "Come with me," he said, extending his hand to help her up. "Where?" Emma asked, suspicious. "Somewhere warm, somewhere safe." Emma stared at his outstretched hand. Every instinct told her not to trust the stranger, but the cold was becoming unbearable, and she could feel the baby moving restlessly inside her. "I don't have money to pay you back," she said. "I'm not asking for money." Slowly, Emma took his hand and let him help her to her feet. Marcus led her to his limousine, where his driver was waiting. "James," Marcus said to his driver, "we're going to my penthouse." The ride was quiet. Emma sat in the warm car, still wearing Marcus's coat, trying to understand what was happening. She had heard stories about rich men who helped homeless girls, but those stories never ended well. Yet something about Marcus felt different. He hadn't tried to touch her or make any inappropriate comments. When they arrived at Marcus's building, Emma's mouth fell open. It was the tallest, most beautiful building she had ever seen. The doorman greeted Marcus with respect and didn't even look twice at Emma's appearance. The elevator ride to the top floor felt like it took forever. When the doors opened, Emma stepped into an apartment that looked like something from a magazine. Everything was perfect and expensive. "Are you hungry?" Marcus asked. Emma nodded, suddenly realizing she hadn't eaten anything in 2 days. Marcus led her to a large kitchen and began pulling food from the refrigerator. He made her a sandwich and heated up some soup while she sat at the kitchen island, still in shock. "Why are you helping me?" Emma finally asked. Marcus paused in his cooking. It was a good question and he wasn't sure he had a good answer. "I don't know," he said honestly. "Maybe because I can. Maybe because no one should be alone on a night like this, especially not someone who's pregnant." They ate in comfortable silence. Emma was so hungry that she finished everything he put in front of her. When she was done, Marcus showed her to a guest bedroom. "You can stay here tonight," he said. "There's a bathroom right through that door. Take a hot shower, get some rest. We'll talk more in the morning." Emma looked around the beautiful bedroom. The bed was bigger than any room she had lived in during her time on the streets. "I don't understand," she said. "What do you want from me?" "Nothing," Marcus said. "Just get some rest." That night, Emma took the longest, hottest shower of her life. She found clean clothes laid out for her, a soft nightgown that was too big but felt like heaven against her skin. She slept better than she had in months. Meanwhile, Marcus sat in his living room, staring out at the city lights and thinking. He had built his fortune by being ruthless and thinking only of himself. He had stepped on people, broken promises, and never looked back. But seeing Emma on the street tonight had awakened something in him that he thought was long dead. The next morning, Emma woke up confused, thinking she had dreamed it all. But no, she was really in a beautiful bedroom, wearing clean clothes, and she could smell coffee and breakfast cooking. She found Marcus in the kitchen, still wearing his expensive clothes from the night before. He looked like he hadn't slept. "Good morning," he said, handing her a plate of eggs and toast. "How did you sleep?" "Better than I have in months," Emma admitted. "But I should go. I've imposed on you enough." "Go where?" Marcus asked. Emma was quiet. They both knew she had nowhere to go. "I have a proposal for you," Marcus said, sitting down across from her. "And I want you to think about it carefully before you answer." Emma looked at him nervously. "I want to help you," Marcus continued. "Not just for one night but really help you. I want to pay for your medical care, make sure you and your baby are healthy. I want to give you a place to live, help you get back on your feet." "In exchange for what?" Emma asked, afraid of the answer. Marcus smiled. "In exchange for letting me be part of your life. Both of your lives." Emma stared at him. "I don't understand." Marcus took a deep breath. "I'm 45 years old, Emma. I have more money than I could spend in 10 lifetimes, but I have no family. No one who cares about me and no one I care about. I've spent my whole life thinking that success meant being alone at the top. But last night when I saw you, I realized how empty my life really is." He paused, looking out the window. "I'm not asking you to marry me or pretend to love me. I'm asking if you'll let me help you raise your child. Let me be a father figure, someone who provides and protects. In return, you'll give my life meaning." Emma's eyes filled with tears. "You want to help raise my baby? If you'll let me. I'll pay for everything, your medical bills, a nice place for you to live, college if you want to go, everything the baby needs. I'll be there for doctor appointments, for late-night feedings, for first steps and first words. I want to be the father that your baby deserves." Emma was crying now. "But why? You don't even know me." "Maybe that's exactly why," Marcus said. "I'm tired of being surrounded by people who only care about my money. You didn't even know who I was last night. You were just a person in need and I was just a person who could help." It felt real. Emma wiped her tears with her sleeve. "What if you change your mind? What if you get tired of us?" Marcus reached across the table and took her hand. "Then I'll make sure you and your child are taken care of for the rest of your lives. I'll put it in writing, make it legal. You'll never have to worry about money or shelter again." Emma looked down at their joined hands. This man was offering her everything she had dreamed of during those cold nights on the street. But more than that, he was offering her child a future. "Okay," she whispered. Marcus smiled, really smiled for the first time in years. "Okay." Emma nodded, smiling through her tears. "Okay, we'll try this. Together." And that's how a homeless, pregnant girl and a ruthless billionaire became an unlikely family. Marcus kept his promise. He bought Emma a beautiful apartment near his own, paid for the best doctors, and was there for every moment of her pregnancy. When baby Sophia was born, Marcus was in the delivery room, tears streaming down his face as he held his daughter for the first time. Because that's what she was, his daughter in every way that mattered. Emma went back to school and became a nurse. Marcus learned to change diapers and read bedtime stories. And slowly they both learned what it meant to love and be loved. Years later, when people asked Marcus about the best decision he ever made, he never talked about business deals or investments. He always talked about a freezing winter night when he chose to stop and help a stranger, and how that choice saved not just her life but his own. The ruthless billionaire was gone. In his place was a man who had learned that the greatest fortune of all was family.